I am very interested in what ordinary, so-called ordinary people think, do, say, write, and film about their lives. A lot of those stories are compelling. They're as good or better than some of the work by the big names. I think that sometimes people who are not avant-garde writers don't get treated with much respect in the academy, so I'm interested in their forms. My earlier work was on the Doukhobors, who were Russian migrants, and I was interested in the autobiography they wrote even when they were in jail for protesting. So often I'm doing work outside of a literary context in order to understand what these other kinds of cultural producers have to tell us. An example, which is by a man, but who would never normally write, is Theo Fleury, who wrote a really big memoir, right, about hockey, but also about how he was sexually abused, and that affected the court case that was brought against his perpetrator. And so that's a really good example of a memoir that did actual social work in the world, but was also really compelling. But he's the last guy you think would, tell a good story, right? But he turns out to be somebody who's really actually very good at it. A lot of these new writers are women. And so their stories and their experiences have been left out of a lot of mainstream literary representation. I was a founding member and enthusiastic early supporter of the Mountain Studies Initiative. We've had a lot of critical discourse in the area about mountaineering and masculinity, but there's been nothing about women, nothing, except some attempt to put them back into the historical record, but never thinking about what was it like to try to even be in that world if they were female, and what was the fallout from doing all of the things that they did. Not everybody who climbs a mountain and writes about it wants to conquer the mountain. But it's the conquering discourse that becomes so important, and it's the voice that screams the loudest. And one of the things that I think scholars can do is show how other voices matter. I am part of a growing group of scholars who are interested in analyzing what's happening with social media, and that is very important for students, I think, of all ages, all types, to understand. If students are interested in making connections between their local world and the global world, and they want to do so through looking at writing and digital objects and all kinds of things that make up how we understand how meaning is produced, this is the place to do it.